views and opinions expressed may not reflect those of the Allen County Public Library, Access Fort Wayne, and or any other supporting groups. If you are interested in producing your own programs for Access Fort Wayne, you can contact us at 260-421-1250.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and welcome to Countyline. Each year, the Allen County Solid Waste Management District honors businesses and organizations for their recycling efforts at the district's annual Excellence in Recycling Awards Luncheon. This year's event was held on August 17th at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum Conference Center. Now, along with recognizing businesses and industries for being stewards of our natural resources, this year's event honored District Director Tony Burris, who is set to retire at the end of the year after 25 years in the industry.
Well, good morning or afternoon, everyone. It's quite humbling for many ways for me to be here. I'm looking at family, friends, co-workers from across the state. I'm still not sure what that's all about. I have staff members, past staff members from, the early days here as well. But I'm going to talk a little bit today. We use this event, this is our annual event, we use this event as our opportunity to cheer others on, cheer those who are thinking about it, and to encourage more to get involved. So today we're going to talk about trash. We're going to leave it again still with the commercial and industrial sector, because this is the Business Awards Luncheon. We're going to talk about a subject that is not exciting. I have told some of you that you see your table mates nodding off. Just make sure they don't hit their head on the table, but just go ahead and let them sleep. It really is an exciting subject. I mean, hey, I want to talk about how many bales of corrugated and plastic I got rid of today, and people just look at you. So in the early 1990s, which was even more unusual, or late 80s, there was a group of, we want to go back to this one. Yeah, going the wrong way. There was a group of 9 counties, the elected officials, got together and started lobbying the legislature that we needed a statewide strategy about solid waste. Now, can you imagine how that meeting went? Hey, Bob, we need to have a meeting. We got all this trash, and we need to talk about that. You need to call the commissioner down there in Adams County. You need to call the commissioner over there in DeKalb County. Let's sit down and have a talk. Well, it was crazy enough that they were able to get the state legislature to enact House and Road Act 1240. 1240 required that the Department of Environmental Management, Indiana Department of Environmental Management, create a solid waste plan, and that solid waste districts were created and designated as the local mechanism for implementing integrated solid waste management and to develop programs to reduce the amount of materials that went to landfills. In developing our plan, we utilize the 1990 hierarchy for waste management or waste reduction, that being reduce, reuse, and recycle. Having said that, as we looked at our plan, we also identified what our resources were. Now, different from some of my friends over here, we were blessed with one active landfill, or 3 active landfills, I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself. Yes, 8 to 12 haulers. In fact, one community had to tell you what day your hauler could go down their street. Otherwise, you would have trash haulers going down their street every day. 2 material recovery facilities, and lastly, 8 drop-off sites was the infrastructure for the solid waste program here in Allen County. Looking at the active landfill, sort lines from the materials recovery facilities. As we said back in that day that the trailers were provided by Scott's Foods and Care Recycling. Some of you recall going to those trailers because that was basically all that was available at the time. As we developed the plan also with their Citizens Advisory Committee and the waste haulers and the elected officials, there was a protocol that was agreed upon. That protocol was basically if the district would not mandate rules to the solid waste industry, the solid waste industry would provide recycling to anyone in Allen County who wanted it. Second of all, the protocol stated that if the district would refrain from getting into business. Now, some communities across the state, they've had to get into business because they didn't have the resources being provided by the private sector. But if we stayed out of the business of processing and transporting, that they would ensure that, or pledge to make sure that recycling stayed at a competitive rate dictated by the market for everyone who wanted it. This protocol has served us well. But back in the day, I remind that some of you here weren't even around in 1990, or at least in school, because my staff keeps reminding me that in 1990 or a little past that, they may have been in the 2nd or 3rd grade. That is very helpful at the time we are having that discussion. But back in the day, the opportunity for recycling was limited. It's limited to a few items. It was limited to newsprint, the plastics 1s, 2, and 3s, corrugated boxes, steel and aluminum cans. We also had, that was produced by the Blue Bag program. And so if you wanted to recycle, you contacted several haulers, or you would take it to the church, or you would take it to the care recycling facilities. We started working with the business recycling, and that was offered by the local haulers, National Serve-All Waste Management, Indiana Fiber, and Don't Waste. Don't Waste was one of those companies that they processed everything out of their garage. As we tell folks and have told folks, to be successful in recycling, or this recycling activities, you need 3 things: a continuous supply of materials, the equipment to manage it, and the end markets. As communities and companies started looking at their corporate reduction program, the industrial sector began to lead the way. Some of the recycling models we were able to utilize those to the commercial sector and beyond. We started working with the various groups, including the chamber and others, and giving presentations and developing models with companies large and small. As we said, those studies and then residential commercial recycling began to cry also that, hey, we want something. We want something beyond the blue bag. And in 1995, we had something. The city of Fort Wayne started one of the first curbside programs. It was with BFI, who then offered the bin. And we went for years with just the bin. Having done that, we found some very interesting things. Education, education, and education. And I say that because general public still will tell you there's lots of money in recycling. And if that was the case, all of us sitting here would be extremely rich and wouldn't be sitting here listening to me. The other thing is, everything can go in that bin. Oh yes, that hasn't changed today. The broken glass from the windows, the kiddie pools, the chairs, and the other toys from the kids. And you know, we continue to educate folks about that. There's two humorous things. We're still doing it today. Ironically, this table over here, some of my cohorts will tell you, we attended a meeting in May, and the ironic thing was that several was coming back from the social event, noticed that the staff of the Indiana Recycling Coalition had the recycling bins poured out on the floor, in Visqueen, of course, pulling out the trash that was deposited along with the recyclables. You would think that those attending the Indiana Recycling Coalition would have the forethought and know of all what the hell to do. However, that's still why we're still educating today. We've progressed from the blue bag program to communities providing single stream recycling. The commercial sector began to start more recycling. And as volumes continue to grow and people are seeing lots and lots of volume, things begin to change. They begin to change because those slow boats to China are taking all our materials over there. All of a sudden though, as many of you processing those materials know, that those things that are quick and easy come to an end. And China started imposing the green fence, changing how we do things. The green fence being that, that we need to be respectful and sort out those materials as opposed to just grabbing everything that can be just placed in a recycling bin. We're taking the toys and things of that nature. It is also because, we are one of the largest exporters of recyclables today. As you can see, those numbers kept climbing, but that we now need to start looking at what we place in there. Many of you who process those materials will tell you it's still a problem. It's become a game changer because commodities have dropped. But in Northeast Indiana, I'm happy to say that we then started looking at other strategies, not only in Northeast Indiana, but across the state, and that being zero landfill policies, whereby the philosophy, according to Wikipedia, that is to encourage the redesign, reuse, and life cycle of products, that no trash is sent to the landfills or incinerators. And so we start looking at the newer model or hierarchy of waste management and waste reduction, that being avoidance, that being reuse the waste, recycle, recover for energy, or treat it, and then you take it to the landfill. You know, so that philosophy is being propelled throughout the land. Some people have taken it to heart. Extreme use. Not sure that using a windshield wiper in your office will work very well. You may hit unless you don't like the person walking past your desk. It is a cozy little desk though. We begin to start looking at now how we're doing today. And what are we doing today as we start achieving zero waste landfilling? Now, as a district whose whole funding source has been funded through solid waste disposal, you know, we're technically working ourselves out of a job, but, you know, fear not, we will be around. According to scrap recycling industry, that in 2015, more than 2.5 times the paper was recovered than landfill, meaning that 68% of all paper, fiberboard, and corrugated boxes produced annually are recovered. But we still need to capture the rest because things are beginning to change throughout. Yes, those are the nice bales that are being processed throughout. But then you start looking at also how we're doing in other recovery reduction areas. Now, according to the US EPA, which I don't believe, Indiana is one of the top 10 disposing states in the country. That supposedly that we're putting in 32 pounds per person. Nevada being the highest of 38 tons per year per person. Idaho being the least with 4.1 tons per person. And that's according to EPA. However, I know different. We see here with the active waste that has gone on throughout Indiana activities. Yes, there's about 5 million tons disposed of annually, so I can't say much about some of the other communities. Yes, there are about 900,000 tons recycled, but I do know in Allen County that only 342,579 tons were deposited by businesses, commercial sector, and residential sector in Allen County landfills. Now, what that means is that in 2016, Allen County only contributed 0.05 to the rate of the state rate of disposal, and that we also, that equates for us about 1 ton per person for the year for disposal. So I'm not sure where EPA is getting their numbers, but like I said, we're not really too concerned. And I say that, and I want you to continue to do the things that you're doing. Now we come to where our waste services as of 2017. You know, we had 8 to 12 haulers. Now we're down to 4. We had about 3 active landfills. We're down to 1. We had 2 recovery facilities. We're down to 1. And we have 2 material processors. Those folks that have worked with us as part of a partnership, they also have gone out and talked about how to reduce the waste stream. I know in the early years, it was like, are we in conflict with each other? That being that we want to pull it out of the waste stream. They wanted to take it to the landfill. But those philosophies and policies have changed. So we're happy to have them working with us as opposed to against us. We have single stream recycling for most of the municipalities in Allen County, as well as single stream recycling for businesses offered by Republic Services, Waste Management, Advanced Disposal, and Bund Services. We have, as I said, all the municipalities, Fort Wayne, Monroeville, New Haven, Woodburn, and all have curbside services. We have the 5 manned and 1 unmanned drop-off site. And most of the businesses have implemented recycling activities in their offices. We've seen a high recovery due to the fact that people like Navistar, GM, Wolf Bedding, Parkview Hospital, BAE Services, Raytheon, St. Francis, Indiana Tech. These companies have not only served as waste reduction leaders, but they have mentored other companies in Allen County, and they've also been past Excellence in Recycling Awards. Each year, we asked you, if Bedding have collected any of their scraps, then they reuse them. Each year, we asked you to do more and asked you to look at what else can be taken out of the waste stream. Each year, you have worked with us to accomplish this challenge. You've assisted us in capturing volumes of e-waste, mercury items, and in this past year, working with new programs to reduce the volume of food waste going to the landfill. Several companies have worked together that we've seen to do exchange programs. And I say to you, thank you. Because we don't want to look at the mountain on the, that's from my standpoint, from, on the left. We want to look at the one on the right. Those are the mountains we want to see. So as we conclude Chapter 1, of the Allen County Solid Waste District and begin writing Chapter 2, I believe that the sky is the limit. I know that today, or within the next 6 months, that industries like Cook Industries will begin to start taking corrugated materials, the messy pizza boxes that are now unwanted in any program because of the oils and the grease and contamination. But those will be added to the waste stream. And basically, most fiber will be accepted. That in the next 2 years, we will have 2 companies within 100 miles of Allen County, Polyflow or Vector Fuels, who are going to be taking plastics that they will be taking the kiddie pools, they will be taking those big wheels that are broken and turning those into fuel, that they will be taking mylar scraps, polystyrenes, and just these sheets of plastic that are torn off, and that will be used for alternative fuels. And as that chapter is written, we will be with you. Allen County Solid Waste will be with you. And I want to reassure you of that. And as I say again, thank you. And I thank you for all the work that you've worked to do with me, my staff, and others.
So one thing the district is incredibly proud of this year, 1 year ago today at this event, I announced that the district was going to be tackling food waste in a big way. So what we did, we had a food waste reduction forum in October, and we had no idea what was going to happen. We overflowed the room. There was so much interest, so much enthusiasm, and such a buzz that we decided to have a food waste summit. We had a food waste summit in January, and from those 2 events have grown partnerships, synergy, and things have taken off in all different directions we could have never even anticipated. So the food waste reduction movement in Allen County has really taken off, and we're super, super proud of everyone that's been a part of that. In fact, 5 of the entries for this year's awards were food waste related in some way. So I'm going to announce those 5, and if you could wait until they're all announced, I'd like those people to come up. Oops, nope. Oh gosh, pretend you didn't see that. Okay, so I'm going to go over these quickly. Old Crown Coffee. As I mentioned, Old Crown Coffee has started composting. They had some issues with their neighbors. That actually led to the formation of an interagency group where we all got together. So this is Board of Health, City Utilities, Neighborhood Code, Allen County Solid Waste District, and City of Fort Wayne. And we sat down together and we decided what is acceptable for a business composting. What will we all agree that this will not warrant a citation and this will? We all got on the same page so that people don't have to deal with this agency, this agency, this agency, and everybody's telling them something different. So, that really actually led to a great outcome in the end. Bravas has also been doing great work with food waste reduction. They have their meat shipped in reusable containers that are then sent back and used over and over and over again. And they're looking at food waste reduction from the very beginning. Swiss Re and their chef and their dining services have been incredibly involved in our food waste reduction group. They're looking at doing all kinds of scientific measurements and methods to reduce the waste from the very beginning. Associated Churches and Parkview Miro Center formed a partnership this year where leftover food from events is taken directly to people in need on the street in Fryman Square or wherever at the shelters. And it just, I mean, it just makes sense. There's no reason to throw that away. So that's a great thing that's come out of this. Community Harvest Food Bank has also instituted some new measures since we have done this food waste group. They're doing gleaning, for one thing, where groups will go out to the farms and collect produce after the harvest that would have just been left on the ground. So that then is donated to the needy. So another great initiative. And we really want to thank you guys for taking up with this stuff. It's really exciting to see, and we'd love for representatives to come up at this time.
Why don't we keep giving this way? Sure. You get that. It's good. You? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's hear it again for our food waste warriors. Okay. We have 2 more awards to give away today. We have the 3R award, which I think we all know is reduce, reuse, and recycle. We have the 3R award. What did I put first? I think commercials first. Yeah, so the 3R award, oops, for commercial is Water Furnace International. We have someone? All right, come on up. So Water Furnace International is a company with sustainability just at its core. Beyond that, they manufacture using recycled materials. The products they manufacture are recyclable. And within their facility, they recycle everything. The judges really liked that they had an integration of waste reduction into their business practices and their employee culture. They liked that there was good record keeping and accountability. They liked that it was a core-based green business and that it engaged stakeholders in the administrative and manufacturing side of the operations. So one thing that struck me, they have it's called a cutout waste program. I'm sure you guys call it COW, right? Cutout waste program has saved over $2.25 million. And that's one point as the business coordinator I always love to drive home, is that cutting out waste can save money. So, and just to 2016, they recycled what you can see there, tons and tons of material. And that's almost just a bonus. That's extra as opposed to being just a waste reduction at its core type of company. They also bring that message home. So they encourage employees to be sustainable in their lifestyle at home as well, which is something we look for in these awards too. So let's give them another hand. The award for 3R in the nonprofit category goes to Indiana Tech. So Indiana Tech in the past year has taken on sustainability in a huge way. And when I read through their application, it was so comprehensive, it was so well researched, and it was so detailed. What they decided to take on was to reduce energy, reduce water use, and reduce greenhouse emissions. Now, those are things we don't necessarily deal with at the district. We're more focused on just the solid waste. However, when they took on those other things, they realized it all goes hand in hand. When you take on the challenge of becoming more sustainable, you can't just do part of it. So in that process, they also instituted recycling in the dorms, in classrooms, and in dining halls. They're another one that has been extremely active in our food waste reduction group. So one thing I wanted to highlight about Indiana Tech was that they have started a food scrap composting program. So the super impressive part of this to me was the collaboration that it took to accomplish. They started small, they knew what they were doing, they researched every tiny little aspect of this, and then they engaged everyone from the top down to participate. So of course upper management has to buy in, right? The dining hall staff has to know what's going on, they have to be engaged, their hospitality provider, the staff, and then once they found that they had a little too much, is it the green, the brown, I forget, they had to have more of the other one to balance everything out. So they got their grounds crew involved. So they've got grass clippings and leaves now to get everything balanced out to get the right chemistry for their compost. In the future, they have plans to engage student groups, but they wanted to make sure they knew how everything was going to work first. Another future plan is to work with community gardens. So they're going to take it outside of campus and out into the community, which is another super commendable aspect and why they deserve to win this award. So another round of applause for them. I want to remind everyone who's won an award today that we would love to take a photo with you. We have a lovely photo backdrop over there, so please come find us. I want to encourage everyone to please stick around, continue any conversations that you've started. We've got some time here, but that is the end of our formal presentation, and I will give the last word to our director.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you all for attending. Thank you all for the activities and efforts that you have put forth not only this year, but in the past. Like I said, it's not uncommonly known that, yes, I may not be the one standing here next year, but the person standing here next year will carry on that same mission because that's what the district will be doing. We still need your help. We want you to continue to surround yourselves with the activities of waste reduction and reuse, but we also want to continue to foster those relationships that have been built just even in the last year for the future. Thank you all, and I will probably sit out there with you next year.
Our congratulations as well to all of the Recycling Awards winners, and our best wishes to Tony, and congratulations to him for his years of service to the Allen County Solid Waste Management District. I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time on County Line.